in Texas, man.
We don't get along.
We don't get along at all. There's something here.
I'm actually surprised I didn't get sick this time, because I'm like 5 for 6 of getting sick when I come to Texas. So I guess there's still time left.
Yeah.
I haven't
You've been hanging out with
yet.
me all weekend long, so it's only a matter of time.
That's true. You're just going to pass the flu on to me. That would be. I would love that. That would be my favorite thing you could possibly do. Courser of Crew Fix on turn number 2 here. Berni off to a nice start.
It's going to be a killer podcast tomorrow when we record.
Are you just going to be hacking all over it?
Yeah.
I can only hope. Lowry with a Voyaging Satyr. He will pass the turn back. Grimmer Devotion sitting at the top of the standings in the hands of 3 players. Lowry, Berni, and Tannen Grace. I do want to correct myself. Excuse me. It was Grand Prix Paris.
Ah, okay.
And William Lowry did top 8. That one was won by David Scharfman, who is a Pro Tour champion.
Hence the confusion.
Correct. Either way, an impressive accomplishment for William Lowry, and he's looking to make the top 8 of the Open Series here, though Robert Berni's draw is excellent to start things off.
Yep. Pelucano's really important on the play. You get it on turn 3. Turn 4, you can often use it to kill a mana accelerate, put your opponent really far behind. And these decks are not equipped to handle 7/7s. No heroes, downfalls, and the like, so this is a really powerful opening here for Robert.
William certainly got some thinking to do, so he's going to take a moment and figure out how the heck he's going to get back into this thing. Going to start by playing a Wooded Foothills and pass that turn back. Creditor's Claw's the draw. Elvish Mystic on top. Courser of Crew Fix, obviously an excellent card. Not the best card in Berni's deck. He only has 23 lands in his deck, so the opportunity to hit with that card, I mean, it's going to happen, of course, but not as much as other decks.
Right, there's some other variables for this deck that makes it one Courser of Crew Fix. It's double green, so it's very nice for the Devotion count. Interacts with Eidolon of Blossoms very nicely, so it isn't just about finding lands, though that's a nice bonus.
Voyaging Satyr are going to come in. Blue Chronos headed in the red zone, as is the Courser. How about a little activation of good old Pelucranos? Monstrosity will be 2, or at least it will attempt to be. Looks like Otter may have a bit of a response here. What do we have here, folks? A Boon Satyr, okay.
I mean, that's something, but not a long-term answer to what's going on the board here.
It's better than nothing.
But only by a little bit.
Yeah. So Pelucranos takes care of the Voyaging Satyr, going to stunt the development there of Lowry and make Pelucranos larger. Lowry's already down to 9. His draw for the turn is a copy of Pelucranos.
And even with Ferocious Enabler in play, Crater's Claw is well short of being able to handle Pelucranos right now. Certainly cards like Ugin very far away from being cast.
Yeah, well, this is a game William just got ran out of the gym.
Yeah. The turn 3 Pelucranos on the play, and if you don't have a carry added as your mana accelerator, you're probably going to be run out if they have another mana, which is exactly what happened here.
And this is something that we saw last season, too. Yep. I think Chris Van Meter playing the Monsters Mirror so much during Season 2 when he qualified for the Players' Championship. We saw a lot of the times first a Pelucranos and only got the W. Biggest creature you could play.
And it's even more impactful in this matchup because with the Monsters build, you can move into a third color for something like Chaining the Rocks or Dreadbore type effects. Here, these decks really need to stay true to being 1.5 colors. And so you just have to play with the red spells, which are not well equipped to handle a 7/7 that early on in the game.
There is Pelucranos there for Lowry. Berni will draw a card. Forest on top of the deck. No red mana available just yet. Has the ability to cast a large Crater's Claws, but again, no red mana. Forest will come in, trigger the Courser, gain a little bit of life. Hey, Wooded Foothills, how are you?
That should be the lock. If not this turn, then next.
Berni coming to the red zone with everyone. Basically saying, look, you have to block my Pelucranos with something.
Yep, because if the Pelucranos comes in, either the Voyaging Satyr and the Elvish Mystic that go unblocked, they're lethal.
So we'll say that Boon Satyr is going to go on Pelucranos.
Yes. This seems like the correct block here,
yeah.
Is what William is doing here.
Hey, Boon Satyr.
Oh.
Well, that'll take care of Pelucranos, and Berni's getting a good laugh. These two guys are pretty good friends, so.
I believe there's one Boon Satyr in Robert's list.
Had it, as they say. Not only that, but the Boon Satyr on Courser actually beats Pelucranos in combat.
Yep.
Which is rather humorous, as Robert is laughing it up with his Game 1 victory over William Lowry. Green Red Devotion Mirror, the first game goes Bernie's way.
Yep. Fast Pelucranos on the play. William with no Sylvan Carry added, and that is that.
Sideboards, I imagine, are going to look pretty identical. On Bernie's side, he's got 3 Nissa Worldwakers, 3 Nihilius Disciples, 2 Reclamation Sages, 2 Cetessan Tactics, 2 Arbor Colossus, a Xenagos, and 2 Genesis Hydras.
Yeah, the Genesis Hydra, the Arbor Colossus, the Cetessan Tactics, and possibly the Reclamation Sages all coming in. Maybe Nissa as well.
Lowry's on the play. I imagine things are similar there.
3 Nissa, 2 Xenagos, 3 Nihilius Disciple, 3 Tactics, 2 Genesis Hydra, 2 Reclamation Sage. Much the same thing. More powerful things to do with a bunch of mana because people aren't really interacting with your mana creatures. Cetessan Tactics can be very good in a matchup where people are playing with similar threats and the board's built up.
Well, as these players sideboard and get ready for game number 2, we're going to talk about Patrick Chapin's fantastic ebook, but also now available again in paperback.
Pro Tour champion, Magic Hall of Famer, the most prolific Magic writer of all time, Patrick Chapin. Now with the 2015 edition of Next Level Magic, his very successful Magic Gathering book, updated with new examples. It's been out print on paperback for about a year now, and is available now in paperbook as well as ebook. StarCityGames.com/NLM to order your copy today.
The Hall of Famer, the Pro Tour champion, but mostly known as the Innovator.
World's runner-up twice.
Yeah, forget about that a lot,
Yep.
actually. His resume is really understated, I think.
Yeah, because so much of Chapin's mystique is, the innovator and all the writing and all kind of the ancillary stuff. You lose track of the fact that his resume is astounding. And there was a couple years there where he wasn't posting the best results, still solidly on the Pro Tour and all of that, but was not doing particularly stand out well in a bunch of events. But 2014 was an incredible year for him.
Really good year.
World's runner-up and a Pro Tour win.
Some players that are in the Hall of Fame, I think of Gary Wise, who was at the last Pro Tour. We hadn't seen him for like 6 years.
Yep.
And some play, the Hall of Fame, you're qualified for other Pro Tours, so maybe you go, maybe you don't. Gary's a little bit older, has a family and children, all that stuff, has a real job, so you don't get to see him as often. And I think no matter what happens in Chapin's life and his trajectory, I think we're always going to see him at the Pro Tours.
I think so too. I've known a lot of people who actually did very little with their Hall of Fame invites. Gary Wise is someone that I know, and he shows up very rarely. I think Dave Humphreys used exactly one Hall of Fame invite before going over to Wizards of the Coast to be the head of their development team.
We don't see Ben Rubin very much.
Yeah, well, he's a man of mystery, so.
Yeah, people think Chapin's a man of mystery.
Yeah.
Oh, BR. See, he's a little old school for the crowd that's probably watching this.
A man of few words and many scarves.
Yeah. And pretty gosh darn good at Magic, too.
Second place at his first Pro Tour, too. We've been talking a lot about Justin Cohen.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Okay.
Dave Price's Pro Tour Los Angeles, the Tempest Block Pro Tour. Ben Rubin, runner-up in his first event.
I think the most famous Ben Rubin story the No Land Keep.
Oh, there's so many. Most of them are not appropriate for air. Of the ones that are, probably the No Land Keep.
Probably the No Land Keep against Mono Red in the finals of a Grand Prix.
There's that. I mean, there was the Dark Confidant Greater Gargadon hit run deck that he had at Nationals one year. Signature BR brew.
Hey, that deck made top 8.
Did Antonio DeRosa.
Yep. I got 9th at that Nationals, I remember.
I had the list too. I was sort of working with those guys on that deck a little bit, my own brew as well. And it was the first time that it was a too risky build of mono red aggro for me to play. I couldn't get on board with it.
Hey, if you would have played that, you probably would have beat me when we played.
Probably. Would have done better than whatever it was I did play.
Well, it was a red deck.
Yeah.
I think you were on the red-black aggro deck. Just
I don't think I had hit run Gargadon alongside my Dark Confidants.
Coward. Such a coward. Plus, that really just makes you feel something. That makes the tournament way more interesting when you ever Dark Confidant.
At the Black Constructed Pro Tour, I played Dark Confidant hit run, and every draw step was a sweat. That was exciting.
Yeah, that's fun stuff right there. People are scared of revealing a 3. Oh, no.
I got 8s.
Yeah.
I'm going all the way up to the Ochos.
We're underway here in game number 2. It is a forest into an Elvish Mystic. Temple of Abandon here for Berni. Top card becomes the bottom card. We're heading back Lowry's way. See what his second turn. He's got a Courser, top card, Voyaging Satyr, pass the turn back. Again, these players just want to ramp all day long. That's the big trick. Wooded Foothills, Voyaging Satyr.
Although an early Courser is not necessarily that impactful. These decks have cut out a lot of lands, and it's not so much about getting your land drops here as being able to play things way ahead of schedule. The Mana Accelerators facilitate it a little bit more consistently than the Coursers do.
Lowry will get a healthy shuffle of Berni's deck, and then we'll head back Williams' way. See what he can put together on his third turn of the game. Top card of Sylvan Caryatid. There's a Nykthos. This is a Voyaging Satyr. That is a Voyaging Satyr. I think we have a big turn coming soon.
And now the question is, does William have the payoff card? The mana is certainly not going to be a problem.
Not at all. Nykthos, Voyaging Satyr. Any follow-ups here for Berni? No. Lowry's top card, a Courser. Well, he's got one payoff card. We saw Genesis Hydra in his hand.
I think another one might be Setessan Tactics, and if that's the case, he might just go and take care of Robert's board this turn.
Nykthos at this point, generating 5 green. -2 is 1. +5 is 6. -2 is 3. +5 is 8. 9. Hydra. Should be for 7. Whisperwood Elemental among the cards. Perhaps my math is wrong. My math must be wrong. It was 10, excuse me.
So this turn pairs very nicely with the Setessan Tactics that is in William's hand.
Oh, you think so?
The Jurassic Tactics. Yeah, you carry the 1.
Oh,
and then,
okay, got it. Yeah, I passed high school math, so not entirely sure how. Given my ability to count for that Genesis Hydra.
Oh, Nougat on top. That's pretty sweet, too.
That's pretty neat.
I guess it's manifested.
Aw, so unlucky.
What a bummer.
I was hoping the next card would be Creator's Clause. Yeah.
Player, finish your turn. You have 5 additional turns. If you have a time extension or need assistance with the end of round procedure,
Well, he's gonna have to have a heck of a turn.
Call for a judge.
Will Berni. He's got a Whisperwood Elemental of his own. It's not bad. There's a Manifest, pass the turn back.
The first player to Nykthos plus something to do is generally the player who's winning. And this game rather, certainly William.
Let's do some counting. Should I try to count this again?
I won't worry about it.
I don't want to embarrass myself twice. We'll be official and say that he has a lot of green mana.
Right. Enough.
For some drastic tactics.
See if Robert plays it out from here.
He's going to strive Setessan Tactics. And we're going to kill some stuff. Manifest Creature, see ya. He doesn't want to play anymore, apparently.
Don't mind it. Like that play.
You're a big fan of hasty concessions.
No reason.
Yep. Gets the Patrick Sullivan seal of approval. Game number 3 is where we're going to head. William Lowry ties things up.
You gotta sit there and watch as he kills all your guys and then attacks you for lethal? Yeah. No thanks. Going on to the next one.
You only have so much time.
Right. How much of your life do you want to spend playing a match of Magic that you're losing? Not very much. So just concede.
Yep. There you go. That just makes sense.
Right.
That's all that is. So game number 3 going to be on the way here as Patrick gives us more life lessons.
Yeah, there's a lot to be learned here. And you can take the lessons from the match and apply them to other elements of your life as well. It's not limited just to Magic.
See, people think Magic, you can only apply things from Magic to Magic.
Exactly.
Not the case.
Incorrect.
No. That's what makes it a great game.
Are you in a conversation that you don't like? You can just walk away, turn around and leave.
That's conceding the conversation.
See in the conversation.
No one says you have to stay there the entire time.
You don't owe that person anything. Just go ahead and leave.
Grand Prix London, right around the corner here in August. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I think we'll stay there. We don't need to turn around and leave there, do we?
No, we're staying in London for a little bit. August 14th through 16th, a standard Grand Prix in London, the first time that Star City Games has hosted an event outside the United States. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to have more information as we get closer to this event. You know, we have Grand Prix Miami right around the corner and Grand Prix Charlotte, which will be modern before this, but we are incredibly excited and honored to be able to present this event. August 14th through 16th. We think it's going to be huge, and we'll have more information as we get a little bit closer to the event.
If you will be attending, Patrick will have life lessons for you there as well.
Anything you want to know about? Don't like your job? Quit. Don't have to go. Family heirloom in your house that annoys you? Throw it out. You're not obligated to anything here.
Just do whatever you want.
Just do whatever you want.
Whatever makes you happy. What kind of family heirloom would you have to throw away that you're not happy with?
I don't know. Sometimes you inherit things that just don't match, or you got from a family member you ultimately disliked and it reminds you of whatever. I'm just saying there's no obligation here. There's no deeper obligation. You don't have to sit there while your opponent kills all of your creatures one by one with their success and tactics and then attacks you for lethal. You can pick up your cards. Yes, you made their life a little bit worse. I'm sure they would have been happier to play out the turn, but you have no obligation to them. Just move on to the third game. Look, and Robert's laughing. He's laughing and smiling. Look how much better his life is.
I think Robert agrees too. And William's laughing too.
Right.
There's happiness everywhere.
Look
here.
how much net happiness has been created by this.
It all just makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know, you owe nothing to no one. See, that's why in the hotel room yesterday, I talked to myself while I was drafting.
Exactly.
I don't owe you anything. I can say whatever I want.
And actually, that made my life much better.
So there you go. Big Daddy Ankle Shanker.
Giving yourself a pep talk as you're doing your Magic Online draft.
That's right. Well, why would I talk to you when I can talk to me?
Sure, and I get to still hear it.
Yeah, there you go.
Net human happiness increased.
Big Daddy Shanks was not good last night in the draft, by the way.
Ankle Shanker was not good.
Not good, no. Didn't really shank any ankles. I just died within my hand a bunch.
Sure.
Elvish Mystic going to start things off here for Berni. Lowry with a Temple of Abandon, kept it on top with the Scry. Berni looking to accelerate. We saw this draw in game one from him. That's the one he won. Courser, Nykthos on top, pass that turn back.
Now, the second Nykthos is not ideal to find here, but
oh, really?
It actually could facilitate some pretty explosive draws.
This is true.
Given the nature of the rest of Robert's hand, this could be net positive, even though you don't like seeing the second legendary land that early on.
Voyaging Satyr on top of the deck now. Does have a Wooded Foothills. That's a big one. That'll trigger the Courser, gain a little bit of life. Sacrifice that, stay at the same life total. Berni at 21. Looks like somebody wants a mountain. We'll see, though. Player's going to make sure life totals are in order here.
It looks like there's at least Genesis Hydra in Robert's hand. So I think he does have a path to something very big.
Well, it's all about having those payoff cards. We know that.
Yeah, he's got kind of step one. Now step two is have some mid-sized play. Eidolon of Blossoms, ideally Pelucranos. Then step three after that, you have your Nykthos, you have a Devotion count. Do you have something spectacular to do?
Top card, Eidolon of Blossoms. Hiya, with the Courser. There's a follow-up. Another Eidolon.
Not bad.
Mass isn't bad at all. Top card, Pelucranos. Okay.
This is the sort of draw that's building towards having something really big to do with the second copy of Nykthos from earlier.
The draw is a forest here for Lowry. He'll play that. 4 mana. He's got a Voyaging Satyr and another Voyaging Satyr. Somebody wants to nick those. Somebody wants to generate a bunch of mana. We'll see if he's able to do it on a couple of turns here. Lowry get to take because this game is going to play out a little bit longer.
Yep. I mean, Robert can just play the card advantage throughout this turn with the second copy of Eidolon, but he risks William just being able to do something quite substantial next turn with all of his mana. Though with no Nykthos and not much devotion, he's probably safe from the worst of it from William's side of the table.
It looks like it may be time for a Nykthos activation. It would currently generate 5 green mana. Somebody just had to give the camera a little bit of a push there. Because who cares about our equipment?
Right. You have no obligation to it. It's not yours.
Couple of cards here for Berni and Pelukrinos. And Sylvan Caryatid before passing the turn back.
You know what? One of our producers now has to go and check on the camera, but guess what? Not our problem. Not anyone in the feature match's problem.
Nope.
It's our producer's problem.
There is a forest. There is 7 mana. It's a Hydra for
So
5.
This is big, but Robert is going to go crazy with Pelukrinos next turn.
Yeah. And this is a World Waker and Pelukrinos are options here for sure. But as you mentioned, he's going to go absolutely nuts with Pelukrinos next turn.
One Nykthos in hand. We know there's another one. There's one in play plus one in hand right now.
Yep.
Devotion count is 8.
And plus he's got Genesis Hydra on top of his deck if he wants to go that route too.
Yeah. I think at this stage of the game, with William starting to build up a board, I think Robert is best served trying to contain some of William's mana and just making a very large Pelukrinos.
Get those Voyaging Satyrs off the table.
Right, because as long as William is operating with very little mana, there's not a whole lot to be done. The Nissa complicates things because Nissa does represent a lot of mana next turn with the plus power, but still, I think knocking out some Voyaging Satyrs could be very good for him.
Untap 3. There's a Courser. We'll see the top card in just a second. It's a Nykthos.
Now there's a really big priority for Robert here to contain the mana and contain the board. Because William might be able to fire back with a huge turn of his own next turn.
Top card is a copy of Wooded Foothills, but that's not coming into play. This Nykthos is coming into play as a land for the turn.
Okay. Crater's Claws is pretty easy too.
Kapow! Do you think it's targeting Nissa?
Unlikely.
Could redirect if you... No, doesn't want to.
Nope, we're good.
Fair enough. I guess Robert will target William with a fireball. Robert Berni going to win this match over William Lowry 2-1. Berni is 11-2-1 with green-red devotion. I think he's locked for top 8.
Should be good with a draw next round.
Yeah.
It depends on where he gets paired and what the breakers look like, but I think we have our first player who's locked up for the top 8.
It's been a real